might have to go over to the DoseOfDion page.
You alright?
I don't know what it is.
Hmm.
I got a bad blood vessel, I think.
Ah, that sucks. Yeah, it's never fun to go through. Oh, Nate, I just saw it on my phone.
Okay, I obviously get it.
Yeah. Yeah, check on your phone real quick. Actually, I can do that.
It's on your phone and we'll roll.
Okay. Well, let me check real quick. Let's see. What was that? Okay, yeah. Yeah, I just got a text. We're live. Oh, Nate, I just saw it on my phone.
Okay, I obviously get it.
It's repeating on my... Yeah, check on your phone real quick. Actually, I can do that. That's weird. Okay. Maybe it's because I'm actually playing it on my phone.
No, I was playing it through the...
Okay, cool. All right, guys. So I have Hunter Avallone on our show, as promised. So this is Dion with OperationColdFront. Salim Juma wasn't able to be here today, and he really apologizes for that. He actually wanted me to tell you personally, Hunter, that he really apologizes that you couldn't be here. He's one of your favorite commentators, actually, so he really misses this.
Wow, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, totally. So, as you all know who is watching, top chat or paid super chat questions will be answered as priority. And let's get this show on the road. You can also check us out on Patreon. You can also check us out on Venmo and Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all the rest, right? So, Hunter, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name is Hunter Avallone. I run one of the largest conservative YouTube channels right now. And I usually offer commentary on different political issues, and I try to make jokes sometimes. That's the best introduction I can give.
Cool. So we'll kind of wait for people to kind of start rolling in a little bit. But let's just talk about your day so far. So what's the average day look like for you?
Well, an average work day looks like, usually it takes me about 2 days to make a video. So Tuesday, for example, I will begin scripting the video. That's when I usually do all the research into what I'm going to talk about, and I write out a good 3 to 5 page script with the dialogue and what I want to say, all the jokes, everything. And then Wednesday is usually the busier day. I usually wake up at a reasonable hour, and then I'm recording, I'm editing, and then I'm posting all on the same day. And then I post on Wednesdays and Sundays, so it kind of repeats itself. Then Saturday I'm writing again, Sunday I'm filming, editing, posting, and usually the days in between I'm either spending time with my family or I am just focusing on some other avenues as well, like my merchandise, for example.
Mm-hmm. Wow, right on. So, like, how long does it take you to edit a video on average?
I'm really, really fast at editing videos. It's one of the things that gives me an advantage over a lot of my competitors on YouTube. Usually I'm finished filming my video at around noon, and I have the video completed anywhere between 3 or 4 p.m. So it usually only takes me a couple hours to edit a video.
Wow. How long did it used to take you?
Well, I used to use different software. Well, I always used Sony Vegas. Then I tried to switch to Adobe Premiere. Then it took me forever. It would take me like 7 hours because I was trying to learn new software. And finally it got to a point where I was like, why am I wasting my time when I already know this other software better? And this is my business, my channel. Why don't I just use the software that I know? And then going back to Sony Vegas, I'm just able to edit so quickly.
Oh, wow. So you're doing this all by yourself?
Yep.
Wow, that's amazing, because a lot of commentators that I know, what they like to do is they talk, they do retakes and everything else, and then they send it to their editor, well, it's probably like their best friend or whatever, and then they'll get it out probably the same day. Kind of like what we do actually is, because my editing's style is probably the worst you've probably ever seen. Like I'll just be like, whatever, just post random stupid stuff, and then I'll get it out probably like 13 hours after our filming for it.
Sure.
But that's
Yeah,
really awesome that you edit your own videos that quickly, because we actually have a guy that works for us for free right now. I won't give his name out because, of course, he's being doxxed, or he's trying to get doxxed. He used to work for Hollywood, and
oh wow.
yeah, he's really, really good at editing. And it just amazes me because when he came on, it was at the most opportune moment, because he's like, yeah, I'll do videos for you. And he gets out like a video every other day. It's amazing. So how many people do we have on the stream right now? 48. That's actually a really good number. Not even 5 minutes. Wow. So I wanted to talk to you about censorship, Hunter. So tell us what happened. What happened when you got your YouTube taken down?
Well, I had woken up in the morning and I went to check my views on my latest video, and the software that I usually use wasn't loading. Well, I use an app, and it wasn't loading, so I thought maybe it was an internet issue. So I toyed around with some things, and it became very obvious very quickly that my channel had been banned, or terminated is actually the better word. YouTube said they took me down for hate speech. I'm not really sure where they got that from. I'm very fortunate to have a management team that was able to connect with YouTube very quickly and help reinstate my channel, though. So I was only down for about 7 hours, which isn't too bad. And honestly, it was the same thing that happens whenever you try to censor someone. Is all this did is give me more publicity, and when my channel actually came back up, it was just gaining subscribers very, very rapidly because so many people had been talking about me.
Wow. So
yeah.
Did YouTube actually tell you what it was that you said?
No. Nope. Just hate speech. The typical, right? They always want to keep it really vague so they can't get in trouble.
Right. Do you have an idea what you said?
Well, what happened was they had taken down a video. So when I was able to get back into the account, I did see that they had taken a video down. And I think what happened was they removed a video and then may have made a mistake and deleted the entire channel. Or they may have just been trying to get rid of me quietly. And when so many people made a noise about it, they very quickly realized they made a mistake. But no, they never really told me what exactly I did.
Mm-hmm. So how did you feel when that happened? Like, were you worried that you wouldn't be able to come back? Were you like surprised at all?
I mean, I was definitely a little bit worried just because I am using the revenue made from YouTube to like support myself and my family. So sure. It definitely was a little bit, I mean, it was kind of like walking into your job one day and finding out you're fired. So it was a little bit, uncomfortable. I was definitely a little worried, but I also had a lot of connections and a lot of people that had my back, and there was so much support just from my well, she was my girlfriend at the time. She's my fiance now.
Congratulations.
From my fiance. Thank you. Yeah. From my fiance, and then there were other YouTubers who were texting me and supporting me. So there was so much support, it was hard to get too worried because I knew I had enough connections that could hopefully help me out.
Oh, wow. So if you think that you didn't have those connections, what do you think would have happened? Would you still be banned?
I kind of do think that it was my network that saved my ass. I know that right now Black Pigeon speaks. He's another YouTuber you may have heard of. He just had his channel removed. I'm not sure if he's going to get it back or not. So I think that it was probably the support team that really did help me get it back. And since that ordeal, I have cleaned up my content a little bit. I mean, I don't have a choice. I don't like it. I don't like that YouTube is forcing these new strict rules on me and everyone else. But I have cleaned up my my act just a bit because I want to stay on YouTube's good side. I don't want to knowingly try and violate their policies.
Right.
Obviously, I mean, I worked hard for my YouTube channel and I don't want to lose that. No, obviously, if they were asking me to compromise something I believe, that would be a different story. But I can refrain from using certain insults if it means not losing my entire YouTube channel and internet presence, right?
Right. I mean, that's pretty sad because you see Facebook doing this, YouTube doing this, Twitter, Instagram, etc., that they're taking out accounts for quote unquote hate speech, which is BS because it's what they define as hate speech. Because they could go to any one of ColdFront's videos right now, or your videos, or anybody's, and say, "Oh, we don't like that video, so we're going to take it down." Why? Oh, hate speech.
Well, it's not hate speech, it's speech they hate.
Right. That's a great point, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you came back because I really think that if you didn't have the network that you had, you probably would have been banned indefinitely. And it's really scary because it's a literal censorship of ideas, which YouTube cannot do that legally because they're acting as a publisher and when they're a platform. So that's really scary stuff because right now we're growing like crazy, Operation Cold Front. And the last thing that we want to have happen is we're on the cusp of 100,000 subscribers and then all of a sudden we just get booted simply because a whole bunch of Antifa members were complaining about us or whatever. In fact, actually...
Well, this really comes down, sorry to interrupt, but
no, go ahead.
What it really is it's the mainstream media as well. So the mainstream media does not like the fact that us YouTubers are getting way more views and way higher engagement because we're not a bunch of corporate hacks, a bunch of corporate frauds who are just spewing this nonsense that everyone's heard 100 times before. We actually bring something different and unique to the table. And so the mainstream media really does not like that. They don't like that they're losing their ratings to a bunch of guys in their basement. They don't like it. So really, YouTube is acting incorrectly by banning people, yes, but the mainstream media is in part to blame for this because YouTube is meant to be just a public square. It's meant to be a platform where it just hosts content, whatever it might be. Now, obviously, I don't think they should have pornography or something like that on their platform, but it's supposed to be a public square where people can talk about different ideas and everything, and it's actually the mainstream media that's pressuring YouTube and then tries to go after the brands that work with YouTube to try and get YouTube to force creators they don't like off the platform. It's really slimy and disgusting, and honestly, the mainstream media is going to continue losing because of this kind of BS.
Right, exactly. I couldn't agree more, and because again, you saw this with Alex Jones. I think he was banned around the same time that you were, and that was talked about a lot. And I mean, it's just scary because they can literally take out anybody with the power that they have. But right now, I can say that the right is fighting back so hard, and even liberals at some points are like, "Well, why did they ban this guy, but not this guy for the same kind of content, but on the opposite side?" So. One of the things that happened was Salim was banned for the infamous Matt Walsh tweet. And I don't know if you know what that is, but basically the Matt Walsh tweet was like, "I'm woman, hear me roar," and like all these different contradictions, and he got banned 6 times out of it.
Really? Isn't Matt Walsh with the Daily Wire?
I believe so. I'm actually not entirely sure. I don't know a whole lot about it. That was one of the things that Salim was supposed to talk about. But it was this really controversial tweet, and it really surprised me that they banned Salim 6 times. So they banned him for the tweet that he posted. And he took the picture, or took a picture of the ban and got banned for that. Yeah. And like you said, MSM is all in bed with each other doing this because they don't want to see the freedom of speech from the right, because the right is correct in everything that they've been talking about in the last couple of years. And you've been
the right is winning.
Obviously exposing that for a while.
Well, it says a lot about your ideas if you are so fragile in your beliefs that you actually need to silence your opposition. I mean, it just shows like how solid is the agenda the mainstream media is pushing. How solid is that if they can't even defend themselves? They have to just ban people that dare speak against it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So one of the things that happened to me was, I don't know if you saw this video, but I posted the "It's okay to be white" sign that we made with the OK symbol on Facebook, and I got banned 3 times for that. It was a sign, and a black guy is holding the sign with a "Make America Great Again" hat, doing the "It's okay" symbol, and I got banned 3 times out of that. So, I mean, they're so good at recognizing what they want to ban, because, I mean, the picture wasn't even that great. It was just like a picture we took in our studio. And then they were like, oh, that's interesting. You know, let's target that. So I really, truly believe that they actively target public figure conservatives. I'm surprised that they haven't targeted, I mean, they probably do, but they haven't targeted Donald Trump yet and taken his Twitter out entirely.
Well, that would just be a PR nightmare.
Yeah.
The thing is, see, the one thing that you can do on these platforms is, if you get too big, you have more power. Because I mean, look at the Steven Crowder thing, for example. YouTube probably would, if they could, just get rid of Steven Crowder.
Right.
But he's too big. I mean, they take Steven Crowder out, everyone will, like, they'll never move on from it. Alex Jones was a little different. Now, you know what? I'm not siding with YouTube on this thing, but from my understanding, they had given Alex Jones several warnings, and he continued to violate what they were saying as well. So it wasn't just like overnight they decided we're going to get rid of this guy. It was a process, and they had given him strikes. They had told him to stop doing these things. And part of the strike system, I think this has changed now, but it used to be that if you have a strike, you can't live stream on any other channels. And Alex Jones was still streaming on other channels, and YouTube contacted him, I believe. Don't quote me on this, but I believe they contacted him and told him, they said, listen, you are breaking the rules here. We're giving you another chance. And Alex Jones just would not listen, and then they banned him. So again, it's kind of like, what did he do in the first place to even get strikes and everything? But YouTube, the thing is out of all the tech companies, I think that YouTube is far from perfect. Don't get me wrong, but they do deserve some credit, because they're definitely more transparent than Twitter, for example, or Facebook. I mean, Facebook is I mean, I honestly have barely been able to use Facebook, because I can't so much as post a meme without getting banned. So Twitter and Facebook are definitely the worst. YouTube, they're definitely becoming pretty bad. I would love to see some competition spike up soon.
Yeah.
But I know that out of every tech company, YouTube doesn't see that bad.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing to say, actually. So one of the videos that Salim and I are going to be doing, I think this next Tuesday, is we're actually going to go to Facebook Seattle, and in clown costumes, protesting against what they've been doing. So that's going to be a really exciting video. I hope you watch that one, because I mean, what they've been doing is absolute BS. I mean, they take out, because here's one of the things that I've noticed. They'll take out a liberal or two just to say, oh, well, we do it to everyone. So
right.
I wouldn't be surprised.
It disproportionately affects conservatives. And I think there are multiple reasons for that. I definitely think there's extreme political bias. I know I just got done saying that YouTube wasn't that bad, but Google has just been sued for anti-conservative and anti-white bias.
That's right.
And I also think a little bit of the reason this happens is, I mean, conservatives are far more likely to post edgy material online as well. So it's kind of a vicious cycle, and don't get me wrong, I'm not giving a free pass to these tech companies. I just think it's fair to analyze all the different factors that could lead to this censorship, right? Now, I think that you should let people be as edgy as they want. Obviously, if you're posting child porn or porn in general on a platform, you should have action taken against you. You shouldn't be able to be posting illegal content or pirated movies or something like that. That should all be cleaned up. But as far as opinions, if someone wants to get online and say that they believe there's only 2 genders or something, they should be allowed to say this without being banned from these tech companies. Right. Because what you said is exactly correct. They have all these free passes and legal loopholes that they take advantage of because they're not publishers, yet they behave just like a publisher.
Right, right. So do you think Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, etc., was always this bad, or do you think that we're just finally starting to realize it?
I think that they've gotten far worse. I mean, I honestly, sometimes I just daydream about the good old days, like 2012 YouTube, when everything just kind of went, everything was all right. Everyone was monetized, having a great time. But the mainstream media what's happening is they're losing the culture war so badly. Since Trump's victory, they're so flabbergasted and so stunned that Trump is dominating them the way they never expected. And honestly, the left just doesn't know how to handle it, because for the longest time, I forget who said this, but I know someone else has made this point as well. But for the longest time, the Republicans or the right was expected to behave in a polite way, while the left was the one kind of shit talking. And it was always the Republicans like, oh, well, we respect you. Like, we're not going to say anything mean. Be the bigger person kind of thing. And with Trump's victory and the empowering of, like, Trump has really empowered the right. And I think that this has led the right to play the left's game. And the left, they can't handle being, like, they just can't handle being given their same treatment.
Right.
They want everyone, they're so fragile now also. They get offended more easily. And the other thing is the right is just so much better at trolling.
Yeah,
We're so much better at trolling. We know how to troll the left. We know how to make the best memes. We totally are winning the culture war. And so the mainstream media, like I said earlier, they can't win the culture war. They're losing the millennials. They're losing the attention of voters and readers, because no one wants to hear what a bunch of corporate frauds have to say over at Vice about some transgender woman. No one cares about this. And so rather than actually producing good content, which is what's supposed to happen in a capitalism, they would rather attack their opposition, try to brand them all as these racist neo-Nazis, and then get them banned to just remove the competition entirely. And I did see another channel mention this, and I think it was a great point. New York Times recently did a hit piece on a bunch of YouTubers. Do they really think that a bunch of people are going to read this hit piece on YouTubers, then the YouTubers are going to be banned, and they're going to say, you know what? Yeah. Oh, well, now that I can't watch Hunter Avallone on YouTube, I guess I'll just go tune into the New York Times. Like, no one cares about that. I don't know what they actually think they're going to accomplish, because all they're doing is building. I mean, listen, the mainstream media has some power and has some connections, but they do not want everyone on the internet against them. Believe me, because the people at the end of the day will decide. And you know what? If they want to watch Hunter Avallone, even if I'm not on YouTube, they will find me on any platform I can be on.
Right.
Same with Alex Jones. When they banned him, last I heard, after he was banned, his subscribers on his website went up by 5 million.
What?
He absolutely exploded. So what the mainstream media did, well, not even the mainstream media, but these tech companies is, and don't get me wrong, I think Alex Jones is a total nutcase. I do think he plays a bit of a character sometimes. I also think that sometimes he's just trolling. But at the end of the day, he's a nutcase. He's a conspiracy theorist. I literally don't listen to a word he says. I never take him seriously.
Right.
But what they've done is they took this crazy kook who most people honestly looked at for the memes anyway. Not a lot of people really watched Alex Jones and took him that seriously, and they turned him into a martyr. And so now suddenly Alex Jones has this power. People are tuning in because what is he saying that's so offensive that I'm apparently not allowed to listen to this, according to some tech giant that thinks they know better than me. Yeah. So, it's really an uphill battle for the tech companies and the mainstream media, because they can keep trying to censor people, and the more they censor, the more people are going to distrust them, and the more difficult it's going to be for them to succeed.
Right. So Alan Poe super chatted us. Hi, how's it going? We're doing pretty good. I got Hunter Avallone fired up
That's right.
about this whole censorship thing. But I mean, it goes to show that I mean, you are so correct, because the left has created their own enemy by doing what they do. Because look at the walkaway campaign, Blexit, Lexit, Jexodus, just the general left to right now. And it's unbelievable. And I really truly believe that Trump helped expose that. because, you know, I mean, in 2015, that was kind of really the first time I kept hearing about, you know, fake news, fake news, fake news. But even still, I'm just like, well, this guy's kind of a dick, right? But after he was exposing all this, I'm like, oh wow, this really is kind of happening. So yeah, it's really pretty disgusting behavior that what the big tech companies are doing. So do you think? I mean, this obviously goes against the First Amendment. So how do you think, aside from the legal loopholes, that they're getting away with it?
Hmm. How do I think what?
So, like, other than the legal loopholes, like, how do you think these tech companies are getting away with it? Because of their power, or is it because they can, or what?
I'm not entirely sure. I think it is a little bit because they can. I think that they do have a lot of legal loopholes that protect them. I've thought a lot about what a good solution would be for this,
Hmm.
and right now, and I will say this publicly, I haven't really come forward publicly on my own channel with this opinion because I haven't fully researched this. So if anyone's watching, you know, I would please ask that you don't go flip out and think that I'm a complete neoconservative or whatever. But I know that as a conservative, you know, I do believe in small government, but
Hmm.
it's to the point where I do think that government intervention might be necessary. I think that Google, especially Google, you know, the other platforms can be dealt with later, but primarily Google and YouTube should be regulated by the government as a public utility because they are the providers of information and they have so much power that if they decide, you know what, we don't want anyone to know that Trump is up in the polls, we'll just hide that result. They can sway elections. That's too much. I think that's too much power for a single company to have. And what's happened is YouTube has become a monopoly. It's no longer, you know,
Yeah.
people keep saying they're like, oh, well, just it's capitalism. Just go start your own company or whatever. Uh, but you can't do it. You like no one can compete with YouTube, especially because Google and YouTube and everything is integrated with everything else we use.
Yep.
It's to the point that it is so huge. I do believe that it's a monopoly. And don't get me wrong, I'm not shitting on capitalism here. I still think capitalism is the best.
Right.
But I think that when it comes to these big tech companies, government intervention, regulating them as a public utility might be necessary. Because take, for example, like your cell phone service, right? I mean, how far are we going to allow this to go? Am I going to get a call one day that from Sprint that says, "Hi, we don't like that you voted for Trump, so you can't use our service anymore"? Or like, is my power company going to call me and say, "We don't like you voted for Trump, we're turning off your power"? How far is this going to go? There has to be some level of protection for people.
Wow, I never actually thought about that. Is that if
Well,
these
because they're a
companies get
public
so
utility,
big?
like especially like the cell phone company isn't as good of an example because if Sprint called me, I would just be like, all right, good riddance, I'll go to Verizon. But when it comes to an electrical company, for example, in my area, as far as my understanding, I could be incorrect here, but I believe there's only one electrical company that services this area. So if
Hmm.
they decide, you know what, we don't like that you voted for Trump, you're not getting power, there's protections against that because they're a public utility.
Right.
I think that should be the same way that it is for Google.
Right. I actually really agree with that. I never actually thought about it like that because I think government intervention in that sense would make actually quite a bit of sense because, uh, I mean, they can literally target anybody, liberal, conservative, and I mean, obviously you already know what's been happening, but
Right.
but the intervention of the with the government for that system is actually a good thing because you know Google has gotten so big it's actually the number one most visited website in the world,
Right.
and that's a problem because if it is the number one most visited website in the world, then that means YouTube is pretty high up there too. Actually, it's in the top 50. So when you're controlling that much of how people think, it's bad, man. Because there was an article, I think it was about a year ago, maybe it was in I can't remember exactly when, but where people searched up idiot and it popped up as Trump.
I
Like,
remember that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and I'm like, so did they shift their algorithms a little bit? Because I study computer science. You can easily do that on the snap of a finger. And
Right.
if you can do that with YouTube, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, etc., that's literally swaying people's opinion, like you said. swaying an election possibly, because who's the, I mean, you could literally say that the mainstream media colluded with themselves to influence the election. You could say that. But of course, if you do say that, you're crazy, because, well, they have power. Of course they can do that.
Right.
Yeah.
You're exactly.
Scary stuff, man. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your past. So you've been doing this for a while. So why did you start?
Why did I start YouTube, or why did I start talking about politics?
Ooh, let's start with YouTube.
Well, the YouTube thing, I mean, I've been doing videos since I was little. I always enjoyed making videos. I mean, even back when I was really, really young, I was filming videos with my siblings and editing them and burning them to a DVD and just watching them with my family. Long before I was far too little. I honestly, my parents wouldn't even allow me to go on YouTube, because back then, especially, it was very, very just open. Everything was on there, including porn. So I've always liked doing video stuff, and I've always tried to do movies and everything. And then it wasn't until I got a little older that I actually started toying around with YouTube, right around 2012, actually. And me and my brother made little skits. Eventually, I started a little channel with my siblings. We got like 1,000 subs. It never really went anywhere. And basically, you know, trying to put together videos with your siblings who weren't really that into it, it's very difficult. So eventually I was like, you know what, this just isn't working, but I still had a passion for YouTube. So I was like, I'm just going to quit, and I'm going to do my own channel. And so I started my channel, Hunter Avallone. And that's kind of where it took off. I started doing videos that were just like, I was always kind of a critic from day one. I always started off as making fun of just like stupid stuff on the internet. A lot more of the mainstream sort of thing. It was actually funny because when I first got on YouTube, I was trying to be sort of like that cute teen relatable boy, like really kind of cheesy stuff. Yeah. Gotta watch my language here. But it wasn't until I got a little bit older I actually started following some right-wing pages, and I really started getting fired up about politics. And I already had like a passion about abortion, for example. I thought that abortion was really bad. And then I was reading more stuff just about the left getting offended about everything. And that's kind of when I really started jumping into the politics. What happened was I would go from politics to like a fun, goofy video and back to politics. And it got to a point eventually where I wanted to just rush through this other video because I wanted to get back to what I used to think of as the controversial videos. I just wanted to talk politics. I was like, I couldn't wait to talk about feminism or talk about some kind of controversial opinion. And so finally I decided, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to be done doing these stupid, like quirky, goofy videos and just primarily focus on politics. This is right around the time when my transgender video actually started blowing up, which sadly I had to delete recently because of YouTube's policies and everything. But this video, I mean, I had, I think, like 7,000 subscribers, and this video just started blowing up. It was getting a bunch of hit pieces done on it. There were articles coming out criticizing it. It was a huge uproar over the video, and I was at the complete mercy of like this hate storm. And you know what? I kept my head up. It definitely, the dislikes superseded the thumbs up. And so that definitely bummed me out. I remember being like, damn, I can't believe I'm one of these videos now that have more dislikes. But I just kept going, and you know what? At the beginning of January 2016, I had, about 7,000 subs, and by the end of 2016, I was over 200,000. So wow. That year was just a massive, massive growth. I mean, I was blowing up. I was gaining like 30,000 subs a month. And then I had my big hit on Fat Acceptance in August of 2016. I remember I gained over 10,000 subscribers in one day. Huge video, just blew up my channel. And then it was quickly after that I hit 200K, and then now here I am. You know, I'm pushing towards 700,000 now. So it took some time to get to where I am now, and you know there are a lot. The thing is, I don't really regret any of my opinions expressed in my older videos, but
Good.
I definitely regret the way I went about them. Looking back now, you know, I definitely was immature, and sometimes I just cringe. I'm like, oof, I was just so like mean and angry sounding. When like I just have a very different style now because I'm not an angry person. I like to make fun of the left far more than I like to get mad about them. Um, so my style has, you know, slowly but surely evolved. Obviously, if you compare my videos from 2016 to now, I mean, it's really big difference. I have been working to try to get like, you know, there's a kind of a negative reputation of me online, and I am working to slowly but surely change that as much as I can. Obviously, I'm not going to compromise my beliefs. So if someone isn't going to like me for what I believe, then screw them. But obviously, if they have a misconception about me, then I do want to hopefully change that, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's great. So, what do you think made yourself a target? That transgender video?
Yeah, I mean, it was the transgender video. I'm not really sure what started it. I just know that like a pro-gay website did a hit piece on it, and from there, it started blowing up. I remember I would just wake up in the morning and refresh, and there would be like new articles coming out about it. Um,
Wow.
and I liked it and hated it at the same exact time because I loved the attention. I still love the attention, but it was definitely a little bit frightening. Just like, holy shit, everyone's mad at me. um, but I didn't, you know, I didn't cave in. I didn't disable dislikes or comments or anything like that. I was like, you know what? This is what I believe. I'm not gonna stand. I'm not gonna back down on this. Um, and that really quickly built up my reputation of someone who holds tight to what I believe and is willing to defend them. And that has not changed at all, even now. I mean, I believe what I believe, and I will defend it
Good.
until, you know, forever. So
Yeah. So that's actually really interesting. So when you were getting those negative articles about you, like, what were the thoughts running through your head?
just like, I don't really remember. I remember looking at how many followers each page had that was promoting it, and I mean, a couple Facebook pages had like over 1 million followers. So I was kind of excited just seeing how much publicity I was getting all of a sudden. And the thing is, you know, for every 10 people that disagreed with me, there were 2 or 3 that agreed. So although the video was getting a lot of hate, my subscribers were also going up very quickly. So it was kind of, you know, I still, I think, do a really good job with this. It's kind of like what Trump does, where you take the hate and you just use it for your benefit.
Yep.
And that's what I do. I mean, people bash me online now, and sometimes I respond to them, and my videos get more views than them. And I just like, it's kind of all about the drama, and it's all about just standing up for what you believe. And you know, there are some people that shit talk me that I just ignore because they're not worth my time. But there are other people that come forward and say crap about me. And I mean, there's someone actually a couple weeks ago that posted a video on me. And I haven't addressed it yet, but I'm just kind of waiting till the right time that I'm gonna strike back and make sure the blow hits hard. That's what I did a while back, actually. There was a channel called, I don't know if you've heard of Jacqueline Glenn, but she's another YouTuber. She's like an atheist liberal YouTuber, and it's actually funny because me and Jacqueline are actually on pretty good terms now. Like I kind of think of her as a good YouTube connection. But when I was first starting out, she made a video on me on the transgender one, and which was just contributing to the dog pile, right? So I knew, I was like, oh boy, because I mean, I had maybe 10 or 11,000 subscribers, and she had maybe 400,000. So I knew, I was like, I'm gonna be feeling the blow from this. And at the time, you know what I did? I just didn't respond. I just took the heat, and then I just waited and waited until my channel was almost at 200K, and then I responded to her. So I was like, you know what? I was like, I'll just wait till, you know, I'll just wait. I don't need to respond to this right now. And then time went by several months, and then I was at like 160, 170,000 subs, and I was like, all right, it's time to do this. And then boom, I dropped my hit piece on her. And I remember actually, because all my followers flooded her video, and the video to this day still has more dislikes than likes because all of my because my arguments against what she said were so solid. Even now, I will sometimes look back at that video and I'm like, that was a damn good video.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, I mean, it's you know, you got to be strategic about it. Sometimes you just got to wait till the right moment to strike.
Right. Wow, that's
So, yeah.
amazing. So, have you always been conservative?
Well, the thing is, I was raised very Christian, and my parents always voted Republican, but my parents never really talked about politics with me. You know, when I was really little when Obama was running for president, far too little to really have a grasp of politics. All I really knew is Obama was bad. Like, my parents didn't want him to win, right? Because they were voting for the Republicans. Um, but I didn't really understand any of that. I didn't really know, like, it didn't really matter to me. I was too little. It didn't, honestly, sometimes I think if you don't pay attention to politics, it still might not affect you. But it was really my grandparents that are actually far more conservative. And they're by no means like far right, but they're definitely a little more conservative than I am. They're I think they consider themselves Tea Party conservatives, which is a little bit old-fashioned. You know, sometimes we have some disagreements. I will argue with them on stuff. For example, like I think marijuana should be legalized. I think it's fine that gay marriage is legalized. I'm a little bit more liberal on a few of these issues, which they don't agree with me on. I'm not sure about the gay marriage thing, but I know we don't agree on the marijuana thing. And I always just had, I was raised in an environment where it was very like Christianity is the right way to go. And, you know, as I've grown up, I no longer, I'm still kind of figuring the whole religious thing out for myself, to be honest. But I was raised in an environment that was very much about like, stand up for what you believe. Don't be afraid. Don't, like, if you get mocked for what you believe, that's okay. Who cares? Like, you believe what you believe kind of thing. And so, although it was in a more Christian or religious context, I think that sort of mindset played really heavily into my conservative beliefs later on in my willingness to never back down for what I believe. So no, I wouldn't really say I was always conservative, but as soon as it's old enough to really understand politics, I definitely was more on the right. And for example, I was always against abortion. And actually, when I was much younger, I was actually pretty against gay marriage. It's kind of embarrassing now. I made a few posts that I'm like, yikes, I would not say that today. Like, very like Christian, like God says gay marriage is bad, like the kind of stuff that I would never like. I would, if someone ever even brought it up, I'd be like, yeah, I disavow that. Like, that was, you know, I was like 15, leave me alone. But you know that, like, this shit happens. You know, I had a social media presence since I was a little younger, so there's always going to be a few posts I made that I no longer agree with. So yeah, I would say that I was pretty Republican since I was old enough, but as I've gotten older, as I've continued my YouTube career, my ideas have definitely been fleshed out more, and and I definitely, you know, I have a tendency actually to piss off the left and the right because conservatives don't like the fact that I'm pro-gay marriage, or that I'm not even conservatives, but people that are farther right than I am don't like the fact that I'm pro-gay marriage. And a lot of people don't agree with me that I'm pro-marijuana. But, you know, the thing is sometimes if my fans get mad at me, I kind of tell them, I'm like, you guys follow me because I stand up for what I believe. So either accept that this is what I believe or unsubscribe, because, you know, like, I'm not going to change what I believe because you guys don't like it. I think marijuana should be legalized. I don't know. That's the best one I can think of off the top of my head.
Wow. Yeah, because I used to be a liberal my whole life until about maybe the end of 2016. And good Lord, I just remember my mom and I actually were Democrats, and now my mom and I are conservatives.
Really? That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of rare because our whole life we've been told that, well, you're black, like, you have to be Democrats. You're black, you have to be this, you have to be a victim and stuff like that, white privilege and all this other nonsense. And I never really believed in white privilege to begin with, but I always thought about it as like, oh, you know, like, white privilege, but like, what about all the poor white kids I know? You know, like, where's the white privilege in that? And I just remember I had this big fat awakening when, because I always thought at first Trump was kind of a dick, right? But
Hmm.
I still voted for the guy. And my mom was actually the one that kind of brought me over to that side,
Right.
surprisingly enough. And then we've been working on each other, like we've red pilled each other, which is kind of weird.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
it's funny.
it's interesting. As soon as I went over to the right and started wearing MAGA hats and everything, only the left. I've never been called this by in my whole life by any conservative ever, even far right, moderate far right doesn't matter. I've never been called an Uncle Tom by the right. It's always been by the left. A
Right.
coon, the left, and everything else. And it's really horrifying because I've actually lost a ton of friends after I came out as conservative, and they're like, "Well, you're a black guy. You can't support the president who's racist," which is not true. And
Right.
we actually had a MAGA march that I was at filming, and there was a whole bunch of Proud Boys there, and the this gang called the Bloods came up. This all black gang, and my security manager was like, "Dude, they're all wearing straps, man." I was like, "Dude, I'm not afraid of these people. Like, screw them." So I went right up to him in my MAGA hat,
Damn.
and they're like, "Man, you're a brother, dog. Like, why are you wearing a MAGA hat?" It's like, "Cause I'm smarter than you." You know, I mean, come
Nice.
on, man.
It's
Because
funny.
you know, black unemployment is the lowest it ever has been. Black-owned businesses are up 400 to 450%. So, like, well, how is this guy so racist? But prison reform, tax reform. I mean, this guy's incredible. Like, he's done more in the past 2 to 3 years than Obama, Bush, and Clinton combined.
It's true.
I
Yeah,
mean, it's unbelievable.
Trump has been great for the black community.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. And you know what? Trump's been great for the LGBT community too.
Yeah, yeah. He recently just came out. I think it was last month or the month before. That like, yeah, I just want to decriminalize the illegalization of homosexuality throughout the
Mhm.
world. And I was like, dude, that's freaking great. Like, and what a
Yeah.
lot of people don't understand is he's probably the most liberal conservative president that we've had. And if they
Right.
impeach him, then they're not going to like President Pence then.
No. And then you know what? The left, it's like a pipe dream. It's like a fantasy they have. They're gonna
Hmm.
impeach Trump. But like Trump is not getting impeached. He hasn't done anything wrong. And you
Exactly.
know what? Impeach Trump was trending again on Twitter because a bunch of lefties think if they that a Twitter hashtag is how they change the world. Um, and I saw someone still spewing this bullshit about Russia. Oh, he
Oh
knew
my.
he lied about Russia, blah blah. And I'm like, you guys had the Mueller report. For the last 2 years, all we heard was the Mueller report's coming. Oh, Trump is screwed. And then the Mueller report came out and said, yeah, there's no collusion. Russia did tinker with the election, but Trump had nothing to do with it. And the left had no, like they just and now it's oh we'll impeach Barr because it's his fault. Like if they don't get their answer for everything now is just impeach. It's like
No, they
you
should
know
put
back
a
in like
apostrophe
2015.
in
I know
between the
back
I
in
and the M.
2014 and 15 everything was racist. Now it's
Mm-hmm.
their solution is just impeach. They're like,
Oh.
someone won't like sell them something they want. They're like, can we impeach him? What? Like, how does this work?
No, I mean, I've been saying for a little bit that Trump could literally like find himself the cure for cancer and they'd still impeach him.
I know, yeah, exactly. They'd be like, you put doctors out of work.
Oh man. But yeah, I kept seeing all this nonsense on the anti right wing and everything, and I've just become more conservative because of that. And
The
I actually
left, you
ran
know
for
what? The
student body
left is the
president.
biggest.
But what was
The
that?
left, I was just going to say the left, I think the left is their own worst enemy because they
Hmm.
make more conservatives.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I actually ran for the student body president of the University of Washington Bothell, like a super far left school, and I almost won, but I ran as a conservative, and you can only imagine how much hate I got from that.
Right. Yeah, oh, yeah.
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 So
The
I wanted
party
to
of
ask
love and
you,
tolerance, definitely.
what was that?
I was gonna say the party of love and tolerance. I'm sure they were very
Oh
loving
yeah,
towards you.
love and tolerance. Yeah, my ass.
Yeah.
So, what's the end goal with your channel? Like, you've grown it to a really large, subscriber base. You have excellent views. What's your end goal?
I want to keep on doing YouTube, but I do eventually hope to get onto a platform that's a little bit more consistent. A platform, I would love to have some kind of I don't want to say network show because I don't really want to become part of the mainstream media,
Hmm.
but it would be nice to get somewhere that's a little more secure and not so ready to ban me for one little slip up kind of thing. Um, my end goal, though, is just to keep on growing my YouTube right now. I really want to get to 1 million subscribers. Working hard, and honestly, because I've had to delete a lot of videos recently because of YouTube's changing policies, it's been pretty bad for my channel. My sub growth actually has been really bad this past month. I've actually been losing a lot of subs because there's less videos to recommend because I'm deleting videos. It's all around terrible thing to do to your channel. But I
Hmm.
had to make that sacrifice because I'm thinking I'd rather take a few months where my sub growth is awful and still have my channel rather than YouTube delete some 4-year-old video that they're like, yeah, that now violates our policies, even though it's been monetized and fine on here for the last 5 years. So I have to try to keep myself safe. That's why, some content on my channel has disappeared because I had to delete it. Um, but right now, it's just to keep on grinding on YouTube. I appreciate what you said about my views. They have been doing really well. People are tuning in more than ever. And I'm just gonna try really hard to get to 1 million subscribers, and I'm hoping to get there sometime next year. I think it'll be possible.
Cool. I think it'll happen before you realize because when we hit 30,000 subscribers, it was way before the stupid analytics said that we were going to.
Oh well, I know. And you know what? If do you use Social Blade at all?
We do.
Yeah, so Social Blade gives like predictions for what you're gonna reach at certain times, but those are never accurate because
Yeah.
all they do is go off of your recent growth. So obviously, if my
Right.
channel's in a bad spot and I'm losing subs, it's gonna say, yeah, you're never gonna get to 1 million. But then when my channel's doing great, it's like, oh, you'll be at 1 million in like half a year. So yeah, I just gotta keep grinding, I guess.
Yeah. So, like, what else do you do outside of YouTube?
What do you mean? Like other hobby stuff?
Yeah, hobbies. Yeah.
Don't get me talking about Fortnite, man. Don't.
Oh man, I
I
bet you
honestly,
anything.
I'm a total junkie for Fortnite. It's like, you know what? People make fun of me, and I make fun of Fortnite too, because I like the stereotypes that it's like gay or whatever. But
Hmm.
it's so much fun, and it's like the death of me because I'll be at my computer, I'll finish filming, for example, and I'll be transferring my files onto the computer, and I'm like, you know what? What's a couple of Fortnite games? And it's like, it's my biggest distraction because I play it on my PC. It's the same computer I use to do all my work on. So it's like, I know I need to be getting work done, but I'm like, I just want to play Fortnite.
Just one more game.
So yeah, it is by far my favorite game, and
That's
it's
cool.
one of I would call it probably a hobby because I do like to get on there and play with my friends. And I've been playing for like almost a year now, so I've gotten pretty good at it. So it's
You'd
kind of
probably beat
fun.
me at it. I've never played it.
Oh, really? Oh man, yeah, it would be a massacre, man. My highest win's a 14 kill win. So,
Oh man. How often
but
do you
I mean,
meet
besides that, I don't know if you know, I recently had a baby, so
Yes,
I
you did.
spent a lot.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I spent a lot of time with my daughter. She's very, very adorable little munchkin. Love hanging out with her. And then obviously I like spending time with my fiance. Just kind of just doing life, I guess. It kind of sounds tacky, but when I'm not doing YouTube stuff, I usually am hanging out with my girls or playing Fortnite, just hanging out. We're getting ready to move to a new place, so that's going to be a little busy. I know actually today I wasn't able to take certain calls because I was moving some stuff, but yeah, pretty normal stuff, honestly.
Cool. So when you're playing Fortnite, how often do you get online with fans?
Never.
Really?
I don't do. You know what? I'm really, really careful about that stuff. With all the Me Too stuff going on, I'm really cautious and I keep a really careful public image. For example, I don't hug female fans. I never will. Um, so if people come up like, yeah, I don't really want to hug any fans, but specifically female fans. If any fan comes up to me as a female wants to tries to give me a hug, I just say no. I'm like, handshake's fine. Um, it's really important to me that I keep my public image very clean. I don't want to be doing something in the future and then find, some girl says, "Oh, I went to hug Hunter and he grabbed my butt when I was, 15 years ago or something. Hashtag me too." So
It's bullshit.
I definitely keep an eye on that. But so yeah, I don't really play with fans very often. The thing is, so my little brother is really good at Fortnite, and he has some friends at school who are also fans of me. So I'll play with them if I'm also playing with my little brother, because I don't think that's really very, very weird. But I definitely wouldn't just hop on with a bunch of fans all the time. That would not be
Gotcha.
something I would.
That's interesting. So a super chat question asks, "Are you excited for Borderlands 3?"
I don't know about that game.
Ah.
I'm not a gamer. I just play Fortnite.
Ah.
I'm
Nice.
literally that bad. I'm that nerdy. All right. I don't even know about any other video games besides Fortnite. I can tell you anything there is to know about Fortnite. Like I could probably be a commentator for it, but any other game, I'm like, have no clue what that is.
You should create your alter ego and do Twitch.
I know, right? I've actually been thinking about just doing a Twitch channel where I just stream Fortnite and just shit talk about politics.
That's hilarious, dude.
Maybe
So,
you know what? Maybe I'll do that. That's a good idea. Maybe I'll get on that.
boom! I gave you an idea. Guys, I gave Hunter an idea.
Well, maybe
That's
you can
rare.
come on the Twitch stream then and play some Fortnite. We can just chat about politics while we play.
Dude,
There's
I
a good
would be
idea.
down. I mean, you would probably kill me in the game, like hardcore. But no, what,
I mean,
what
if
you
we
said
wanted to
about
1v1, yeah.
being careful about fans, I never actually really thought about it in that kind of sense because, you probably have fans come up to you all the time. You say, "Oh man, I watch your videos," because it happens to me and Salim a lot. And,
Mhm.
they'll want pictures, stuff like that, which is cool. But I never thought about you having to be so careful about, especially with women. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, but with women,
Yeah.
35 years later, they'll come out and be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I want money too. Me too."
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And it's because, this is not at all a diss towards women. I have a
Right.
lot of respect for women,
Sure.
but naturally a lot of women are very opportunistic. So if they have an opportunity, they will take it. And you just can't underestimate. I mean, I don't know what these female fans are really up to. I mean, how do I even know if they're really fans, right?
Right.
So I definitely try to keep a close eye on that. Because I have a mentality where I try and prepare for the best possible outcome in my life. And so my best possible outcome is that I'm going to be a really big star. I mean, I'm already kind of halfway there, but I'm definitely not anywhere near the level I hope to be one day. And so I can't have something like that getting in my way. I want to be able to blow up, and I want to be able to get subscribers and become more popular and keep spreading conservative stuff. And I don't want a scandal like that in my past or something that I have to deal with.
Right. And I think you could that could be preached everywhere with any kind of public figure because I have I don't really hug fans anyways, but it's something that especially with the growing YouTube channel like what we're doing, we have to really think about that kind of stuff, especially like 40 years from now, like what could happen, right? So I think
Right, exactly.
that's really great insight. So one of the questions I wanted to ask you was, where'd you come up with toucan sexual? Like, what was the original idea for that?
That's just always been my thing because so this all started back in 2015, and this is when I was still doing goofy videos. I think my channel had like 4,000 subs. I was extremely irrelevant. I was getting barely any views, right? And I did my first political video, which was, or this was either my first or my second, I don't remember, but it was called "How to Be a Liberal," and I said how I was like, I identify as a man, except when I identify as a woman, except when I identify as a toucan. And the joke started because I showed a picture of a toucan with the rainbow beak and an arrow pointing at it that said "gay rights" because it's like a rainbow. And so ever since then, I kind of had the running joke that I identify as a toucan. And then once my channel really started picking up and I had people like making comments how I like some people had speculations that I might be gay. I did a video called "Coming Out: The Truth About My Sexuality," and I did like this 5-minute video where I even got myself to like get emotional and like start crying, like how all the real coming out videos are. And I came out as toucan sexual, and then after that, it became the biggest meme, and it's still to this day like it's on Urban Dictionary. And I actually was just reading. Yeah, it's on Urban Dictionary, and I was actually just reading some tweets today. Someone commented, they were like, "What the hell is toucan sexual?" And people responded, they're like, "Oh, Hunter Avallone made it up." And then what I did is I reinforced this last year. So I go to these pride marches a lot of the times, and I try to troll, or I just get good interviews, whatever I kind of have a feeling like doing. And so I went to my local pride march in Frederick last year, and I brought a big sign that said, "Ask me about my toucan sexuality." And I walked around and held it, and people came up to me. And I was like, "Do you want to ask about my sign?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay, well, what do you want to know?" And they're like, "What is a toucan sexual?" And I was like, "It means that I have a spiritual and a sexual attraction to toucans." I was like, and then I said, I want to add it. I want to make it be LGBTT, the extra T for toucan sexual. And basically the point was, yeah, to like get some laughs, kind of troll, but it was also funny to see so many people there. It was the perfect example of being so open-minded your brain falls out, because I remember there's this one woman, I explained it, and afterwards she was like, "Wow, okay, well, thank you for educating me." And I was just like, this is comedy gold over here. It was really funny. It was a lot of fun making the video, man.
Wow.
So yeah, it's kind of just become a total meme. I sell merch with toucans on it. I mean, even on my channel, there's a toucan up there. It's just totally become like my little slogan. Yeah.
That is so awesome, dude. So,
Thank you.
So you're a white guy, right?
Yes.
Okay. So how many
identified.
people have come out after you for having white privilege?
I mean, that's a pretty common argument. People say that like Hunter's privileged ass doesn't shut up or anything, stuff like that. Usually I just ignore it, because the thing is, you don't have to come from a place of suffering or privilege to hold an opinion, or even a well-educated opinion for that matter, on any issue. I've heard, I think it was Shapiro or Peterson, maybe both, who said this. This is part of what makes America great, is everybody can talk about their ideas. You know, you don't have to be a police officer to talk about crime. You don't have to be a firefighter to talk about fires being bad. So this idea that you have to come from the place that you are talking about it's identity politics, and it's very damaging, and that leads to the whole intersectionality agenda, which in my mind, intersectionality is just the oppression Olympics. It's who's more oppressed, basically. Everyone's competing. "Oh, I'm the bigger victim." "No, I'm the bigger victim." It's just a detrimental way of thinking. It doesn't make any sense, and it's mostly used as a ploy for a lot of leftist hacks to just get you to shut up. If they're like, "You're privileged, therefore you can't speak," that doesn't make any sense. That goes against how America operates. But the left would much rather lazily label you as privileged or racist as a way to discredit everything you say, instead of actually listening and then dissecting the exact points you're making. They would rather just assassinate your character so they can ignore you, rather than really addressing your points. Right. Because the left is primarily made up of cowards. We see this even with like what we were talking about earlier with big tech censorship. It's comes back down to just they're cowards. They don't know how to defend their ideas.
Absolutely. Yeah. And speaking of cowards, So I don't know if you know this. So we actually go out and interview people. Like we're out in the shit, dude.
Yeah, I think I
And
saw a few videos on that.
so, dude, we're literally stalked by Antifa. We're literally followed, cyberstalked, slandered, et cetera, et cetera. My security
Yeah.
manager is constantly being slandered on social media. It's so bad, and it's of course by these radical people that call themselves anti-fascists. When
Right.
ironically speaking, they're the fascists, and
Exactly. That's why it's so ironic.
yeah. And what the scary part is I've actually been assaulted by Antifa. Salim's been punched in the face, or excuse me, kicked in the stomach. Our producer Matthew Giles was kicked in, or excuse me, punched in the face, but it's tolerance, right?
Hmm.
I mean, it's
Right.
BS because people say, oh my gosh, you guys have the biggest balls for doing this. It's like, no, we don't. Like, we're just stating our damn opinions. Like, it has nothing to do with like what kind of balls you have. Because when people
Right.
say, well, yes, yeah, you're so brave for doing it. It's like, well, it's almost kind of like the reverse of what you were just talking about oppression Olympics. It's like, well, you're so oppressed, like I feel so bad for you, like you have such big balls for this. It's like, well, no, like I'm just speaking my opinion just like you, Hunter. So but I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say, well, it's not scary because
Right. No, I've been stalked by Antifa before too. It definitely is. It's definitely a pretty unsettling experience.
yeah. Have you actually confronted them face to face, or have they confronted you?
Well, last year I went to a resist fascism rally in Philadelphia with my friend, and we were basically just doing the same thing I always do, going around asking for interviews. And we did get approached by Antifa, and these people were pretty aggressive. They got up in my face and stuff. It made for a great video, don't get me wrong. But then afterwards they started to follow us, and that's where it got pretty sketchy. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
It was
how did
little-
you avoid them?
I kind of just walked into the march, and I made sure to stay close to like a police officer because I'm like, I don't want to get like hit from behind here. And eventually I think we either lost them or we just told them to back off or something, but eventually it kind of wound down, I guess.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, because we believe that Antifa for us is they know where we live at this point. My car's been keyed, so they probably know what I'm driving. it's
Right.
it's
Damn, that's
so
pretty scary.
bad, dude.
That is bad.
Yeah,
That's fascism.
exactly, and it's funny how these people don't see that. Like, what are you guys doing here? Do you have like when you go out to these rallies? Do you have like security with you, like your own private security?
Well, when I went to I went to the LA Women's March earlier in January, and I did have security with me then because I was expecting a lot more hostility. And people were definitely hostile, but no one got physical or violent. Usually, although I don't have security because I go to these things, I'm not really there to troll. I'm just doing interviews. But a lot of the times I will go with my friend who actually is like a trained fighter.
Oh,
So
wow.
he kind of works as he kind of works as my security usually.
That's wow, right on, dude.
So I don't really
Because-
hire security, but I do have, protection.
Gotcha. That's always good. When you go to these rallies, do you have you're concealed?
No comment.
Fair enough. But yeah, no, it's fun to have security walk around with you all the time, but at the same time, it makes you feel, oh my gosh, I have to have security following around with me everywhere I go. I mean, not everywhere, like to the grocery store, but like when we go out just to film, it's like, good Lord, like I can't go anywhere without security. Like I'm following you to the bathroom, dude.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, when I went to the LA one, I told the security guards that were with me, I said, first of all, I had them dress normally because I wanted people to still approach me and not be afraid to confront me. And then I basically just said, just stand back, kind of observe things. And then I said, if someone goes to swing at me, let me take the first punch. I was like, I will take the punch for the views. Because I knew that if I got punched in the face at the Women's March, that would be an instant hit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I wanted to bring in my
go ahead.
Producer, Matthew Giles.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going, man?
Hold on one second. I can't really hear right now, so.
It's kind of,
Hey, Hunter.
How's it going?
Oh, it's wonderful. Sorry, I actually just got out of film school, so I rushed over here. But I've been keeping up with the live stream. Good job, work. I think it was funny, though, that y'all were just recently talking about Antifa and how you encountered them. Real quick, though, I would like to break, we have a super chat. My car was broken into. We had a guard milkshaked.
Oh, yeah, that was us.
Yeah. So actually, our guys just went out to a shoot, and one of our security guys got milkshaked by Antifa.
Yeah.
You guys must be swarming with Antifa over there.
Oh, yeah.
It's a hell.
It's a bastion.
Damn.
Oh, it was a she-male. So.
Yeah.
But,
Don't assume gender, man.
Yeah. So it's been kind of fun dealing with this. I don't know exactly how we're gonna come to a resolution with them. Do you think that there's anything that we can do to try to smooth things out with Antifa?
Probably not, because Antifa's so far gone. You know, I always encourage debate, and I don't think that you should run from debate, but Antifa, they're so set in their ways. I mean, they literally think you guys are fascists, even though they're the ones exhibiting fascist behavior. So I don't really know if there's anything you can do at this point. Just try to stay safe, I guess.
Yeah, we're doing our best, but these people are pretty radical out here. It's like you said, we're automatically fascist. I'm actually going to be wearing a headset, so hold on one second.
Oh, cool.
That makes things a little bit easier.
Yeah.
I know that you just got here, and I hate to leave, and I don't have to leave just yet, but I probably am going to have to head out in the next 5 minutes, guys.
That sounds good. So, on that note, I would like to say, hey, any fans out there, if you want to ask Hunter a question, make sure that you super chat us, and we'll get it out to him.
Yeah, I'm here to answer your questions, guys.
I also heard y'all's little story about Fortnite. One of these
Yes.
days. One of these days.
Do you play Fortnite?
I do.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
How many, you want to play sometime?
Yeah. Let's stream this.
Yeah, see, this guy gave me an idea that I should just start a Twitch stream and just play Fortnite and shit talk politics.
Hey, I've thought about it. You've got, what, 650,000 plus followers? You've got a good base to start.
People would tune in my Twitch, I think.
I would tune into it.
Yeah, it'll be it'll be the best Twitch stream online.
Right on.
Yeah.
I don't really see any super chats coming in, but is there anything that you would like to give our channel advice on? We're still a growing channel, but you're kind of a veteran.
Well, I mean, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I haven't really been on the platform that long, though. As far as advice, I don't really think there's much I can give you guys because you seem to be doing everything right, especially, you know, considering the fact that you're gaining a lot of subscribers. I really judge success, especially from a YouTube standpoint, from based on the results. So a video to me is a success if it does well. And if it flops, then I think of that video as a fail, whereas some people look at it based on the quality and everything. And of course, quality is important. But honestly, I think you guys are doing everything right. And coming on the show is really a lot of fun. I would love to come on another time.
Hey, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, on that note, we have a fan just super chat. They said, thank you for all you do, Hunter. They're a big fan. And this is one of our biggest fans, Alan Poe.
Yeah.
We also got another super chat. Hunter, I'm a longtime follower. I've literally shared your stuff with thousands of people. Please give a shout out in your next video with a link to their channel. And then it's blocking something. Hold on real quick. It would really help. This is from Grandmaster Level. He didn't really mention a channel shout out, though.
Okay, cool. Very cool. Yeah. Well, I posted about this that I'm coming on the stream on my Instagram too, so I hope that helped a little bit.
Hey,
I appreciate that.
We've got a higher count than we normally do, but every stream does tend to get better. And of course, whenever we have Avallone on, so it's going to be a great show.
Yeah.
Right, and just watch in 1 week, this video will probably have plenty of views, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you haven't checked it out, we actually just did a new release on homeless in Seattle. You might want to check that out. And it's a pretty interesting, pretty good take on it. I used to be on the East Coast, and you don't see anything quite like it out here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I subscribe to you guys. I'll definitely check that one out.
Right on, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks so much for having me on, guys. Really appreciate it.
No, thank you for coming on.
Hey, Hunter, I really appreciate the time. You are super awesome, and thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, man. And hey, let's play Fortnite sometime, guys.
Hey, I'll get your information.
Cool. All right, Hunter. See ya.
See you later.
Okay.
Are we offline?
I think our tech guys are working on.
Yeah. Oh, it is hot as hell in here, dude. Okay.
Okay.
So, Matt, thoughts on the live stream?
I think it went pretty well. Like I said, guys, I actually go to school, and I had to stay till the end of class.
You're
but
sweating more